Welcome to the Fascia-Informed Therapist Podcast, designed for health and wellness practitioners interested in fascia science. I'm Amy Mayer, occupational therapist, practice owner, author, and educator with more than 30 years of experience using fascia techniques across many settings. Each episode brings practical insights and thought-provoking conversations to help you expand your skills and better serve your clients. Let's get started. Hi, this is Amy, and this is another edition of the Fascia-Informed Therapist. And I know I've been talking quite a bit about the book and the release date coming soon, and it's here. It's been here. It's actually been out for a little over a week now, where people have been able to go to Cognella's website and purchase the book. And thank you to my wonderful friends who have already gone and purchased the book. And thank you to anybody else out there who has purchased it as well. I'm grateful that the efforts that I put in and the knowledge that I have to share is actually getting out there. And my greatest wish, of course, is that it's helpful to people. It maybe will change some thinking, expand some thinking, and hopefully help the clients that we're out there and doing what we do to serve. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about the book, because I actually have one in my hand right now. It is 502 pages, and that doesn't include the instructor manual. So if you are a faculty person and you want to use it for a course, either part of a course, I don't imagine there's any full courses out there on the fascial system, but it would be a great supplement to a wellness course, a phys rehab course, anatomy. Yeah, there's other courses that it would fit into, and it would be a fantastic elective. So it does include 3 appendices. One is that do come in the book. One is on the evaluation process and documentation. The second appendices is on coding and what you might choose in a more traditional setting on how to code some of the things that we do. And the final appendix C is a SOAP note guide to think about how to document some of the things that we do with fascia. So I'm trying to really support the traditionally practicing therapists and therapy assistants out there and help them weave it into the expectations that they have in a more insurance-based world. There are 2 wonderful individuals who wrote forewords for me. I'm not going to read them, otherwise I won't get through them if I had to read them to you. The first one is by Suzanne Holm, who is the co-editor of the Occupational Therapy in Acute Care textbook, and she's on the faculty at Regis University. And then the other is Jan Davis, who is the founder of International Clinical Educators, and she is retired now, but she is a longtime occupational therapy practitioner and clinical educator in the world of continuing education, and then generated the international a library of videos that not anyone can access, but we use them. When I taught at Creighton University, we use them in our instructional process to help show students what to do. I use them to help students learn to document. If they watch a real therapist doing real things, then they could follow along and do the documentation for the video they just watched. So there's lots and lots of ways to use those videos creatively. So if you are a faculty out there listening and you're not using the ICE videos, you should Google that and check that out. Jan has retired, but she still consults with them. And Amanda Giles is now I believe the president is her title of ICE, and she's a faculty down south in the southeast somewhere. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I hear wonderful things about her. So what I thought I would do is just read you the preface that I wrote for the book, and that might help you think about whether or not this book might be right for you. I don't think it'll choke me up, but it may, because it's really the preface is about why did I do this. Okay, so here goes. Writing this book was never on my to-do list. Between running a practice and expanding my continuing education offerings, I was not actively looking to add textbook author to my credentials. During my time in academia, I watched colleagues dedicate immense time and focus to writing books, and I was not sure that I had that kind of bandwidth. But at my core, I am a learner. If you are familiar with the Clifton Strengths Finder, that's a learner is one of their categories. They put people in as when you take the quiz, what are your strengths? I'm a learner, a practitioner, and a teacher. I have a deep passion for understanding fascia and even deeper drive to share that knowledge with others. After years of working with clients and witnessing remarkable outcomes paired with a growing body of research on fascia, I knew I could not keep this information to myself. The science of the fascial system is not something most practitioners will simply stumble upon. You must be actively looking to find it. When the opportunity to write this book presented itself, I had no choice but to say yes. My journey with fascia began in an inpatient rehabilitation department in Northeast Iowa, fresh out of occupational therapy school. One of my senior colleagues introduced me to myofascial release, not as an isolated technique, but as a way to integrate manual therapy with occupation-based interventions. She needed help managing her overflowing outpatient caseload, and I was eager to learn. I quickly found myself applying myofascial techniques and then guiding clients into the kitchen to practice energy conservation or into the office to refine their ergonomics. One of my first clients was an executive at a large local company who had been struggling with chronic headaches for years. At the time, all I had was a low mat in our outpatient treatment area. After helping him get comfortable in a prone position, I applied the hands-on techniques my colleague had recently taught me. I also introduced him to breathing strategies and reviewed his basic ergonomics during his most common work tasks. When he returned for his second session the following week, he reported feeling remarkably better and hadn't experienced a single headache since our first session. After just a few more visits, he remained headache-free and felt no further treatment was needed, though he assured me he'd return if the headaches came back. And I did not hear from him again. The results were undeniable for both of us. He improved more quickly than I anticipated. While this outcome wasn't unique, it was my first experience witnessing such rapid change and remains especially memorable. When first learning and applying myofascial techniques, I was confused. Fascia had been briefly mentioned in my occupational therapy training. It was pointed out that during human dissection lab, simply because someone asked, "What is all the white stuff?" It was named, but never explained. Yet here I was, using a treatment that targeted this mystery system with measurable success. The outcomes I saw in my clients sent me on a relentless quest to understand fascia. It had to serve a purpose, as everything in nature does. For years, finding solid scientific information on fascia was nearly impossible. Then the floodgates opened. The first book I found was Anatomy Trains by Thomas Myers, published in 2001. That book led me to researchers, articles, and thought leaders. Since then, research has emerged at an astonishing rate, revealing the complexity and significance of the fascial system. The science was finally validating what I had been experiencing firsthand in my clinical work. It had gave me the courage to take a significant professional leap and leave my full-time faculty position at Creighton University to create the practice I had always dreamed of. Today, my practice blends fascia science with occupational therapy, and the response from my clients is nothing short of transformative. Time and again, I hear the same question: why has no one ever told me this before? It is not just the newfound knowledge of fascia that empowers them. It is the realization that their daily movement habits shape their fascia. They understand that by making intentional choices in how they use their bodies, they can experience less pain, better function, and an improved quality of life, not just today, but for many years to come. My mission is clear. I want to bring the future of healthcare into the present, beginning with occupational therapy and extending to any profession who will listen. The fascial system is the environment of every other body system. Its health influences everything. We cannot fault our instructors for not teaching us about fascia. They did not have the technology, information, or resources to fully understand it. However, now we do. That means we must pay attention not only for our own professional growth, but also for the well-being of our clients, both young and old. Fascia science has the potential to quietly refine some practices and radically transform others. It does not negate what we already know about the human body. Rather, it adds an entirely new layer of understanding that allows us to innovate and deliver more effective evidence-based interventions. You are the expert. As you read this book, I want you to remember one essential truth. You are the expert in your practice area. Perhaps you are coming to this book with clinical experience already. Whether you have been practicing a few months or many years, you likely have a deep understanding of the clients you encounter every day. Because of your unique experience and focused work, you probably know far more than I do about their diagnoses, challenges, and goals. If you're a student, you may already have a practice area that excites and inspires you. Perhaps you have been immersed in clinical experiences, taken courses brimming with valuable information, or discovered a population you are passionate about serving. Trust in the foundation you have built. Your expertise grows with every class, client, and case study. This book is not written from a place of authority over your knowledge. In fact, quite the opposite is true. I cannot claim expertise in every practice area, diagnoses, or context. I have worked in many different settings, but my current practice centers on individuals who typically have full use of their bodies, and their primary complaint is pain that affects their quality of life. That means that you will likely have questions about how fascia science applies in ways that I have not encountered, and that is expected. Research on fascia is growing rapidly, but has not yet even begun to address every population or practice area. That is where you come in. Your clinical reasoning, creativity, and dedication to client-centered care will make fascia science meaningful in your work. Consider this book a starting point, not a final word. Use it to inform, inspire, and innovate within your unique context. In live teaching settings, I'm often asked highly specific questions about diagnoses or scenarios I have never seen. My most frequent response is, well, what do you think? Because once a practitioner understands foundational fascia science, they already possess the clinical reasoning tools to apply it, just as they would with any other system, such as the nervous or musculoskeletal systems. Fascia is no different. It is simply another layer of knowledge that enhances what you already do well. Some of the most rewarding moments in my work come from hearing how practitioners have applied, now I'm choking up a little. Practitioners have applied fascia science in their own settings, and you will encounter some examples as you read through the text. Clinicians often write to tell me how their clients are reaching new goals, progressing more quickly, and feeling empowered in their healing. These are not my success stories. Sorry, they are yours. They are a reflection of your insight, your dedication, and your ability to integrate new knowledge into meaningful, individualized care. Okay, almost done. Becoming fascia-informed. Becoming fascia-informed is about far more than learning a technique that targets the fascial system. This text aims to provide a solid foundation in fascial system anatomy from a practical occupational therapy perspective. As the anatomy is explored, you will also learn about the system's many important roles in the body. You will quickly discover how relevant this system is to our work as occupational therapy practitioners that reaches far beyond pain management. I recommend reading the chapters in order presented. It can be tempting to skip ahead to the anatomy, assessment, or intervention sections and look for something new to try with your next client. However, applying techniques without understanding the reasoning behind them limits their effectiveness. As occupational therapy practitioners, we pride ourselves on clinical reasoning. We create meaningful, individualized interventions by first understanding the why. This text begins with a brief overview of the evolving definition of fascia, highlighting elements that I believe are especially relevant to understanding its importance in health and function. Chapter 2 sets the tone by examining how modern human behavior, particularly the decline of natural movement variety, has influenced the body, including the fascial system, and our overall well-being. This chapter appears before the anatomy section with intention. As occupational therapy practitioners, it's natural to want to apply new information directly to diagnoses or conditions we treat most often. While that impulse is understandable and often useful, greater insight comes when we pause to consider the whole person first, the strength of OTPs. By stepping back to reflect on how shifts in lifestyle and environment may be shaping each individual's internal environment, we can approach the anatomy and science that follow with a broader perspective and a deeper sense of purpose that helps us to understand the individual's physical environment that the diagnosis or injury occurs within. As you will discover, that environment can significantly support or hinder healing. The chapters that follow guide you in integrating fascia concepts into assessment and intervention, including both individualized and group-based strategies. Later sections explore how fascia-informed practice applies to specific populations and how to build a sustainable, evolving practice that grows with emerging science. Each chapter includes learning objectives and summaries to support your focus and engagement with the material. Reflection questions are provided to help you consider how the content applies to your setting, clients, and clinical decisions. References are included at the end of each chapter for quick access to additional resources. This book was written to expand your clinical reasoning, ignite new ideas, and provide a foundation for becoming a fascia-informed practitioner, one who brings this evolving science to life with insight, creativity, and compassion. So I hope that gives you an idea of my intent for this book and what you will find inside. And I actually think they priced it very reasonable. And if you prefer to purchase it through a different bookseller, it should be on all the larger platforms, likely by the end, or probably mid-April or so. So thank you for listening, and as always, I wish you the very best. You've been listening to the Fascia-Informed Therapist Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss new episodes. And if you'd like to go deeper, check out my continuing education courses, both online and in person. You can find them at fasciainformed.com. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to next time.